Runaway hearts. In the quiet town of Willow Creek, nestled between rolling hills and endless fields, life seemed predictable, ordinary even. But for two souls, Emma and Mia, the town's rigid expectations felt like shackles holding them back from the life they truly wanted. Emma was the fiery redhead who never quite fit the mold her parents had hoped for. An outspoken poet with a wild imagination, she was always on the hunt for beauty in unexpected places. Her parents, devoted members of the local church, expected her to settle down with a husband and live a traditional life. But Emma had other plans she hadn't fully understood until she met Mia. Mia was the town's quiet artist, her paintings bringing bursts of color to the otherwise drab streets of Willow Creek. Her parents, equally conservative, had pinned their hopes on her marrying a nice young man and raising a family. But Mia found solace not in the idea of marriage, but in the expressive strokes of her paintbrush. And eventually in Emma, their love story began unexpectedly, as most do. It was during the annual town art fair when Emma wandered past Mia's booth. A canvas caught her eye, a vivid explosion of color depicting two birds soaring against a crimson sky. Emma, captivated, struck up a conversation with Mia about the painting. That was the moment everything changed. From that day on, the two were inseparable. Emma, with her unbridled passion, drew Mia out of her quiet shell, while Mia's thoughtful, introspective nature grounded Emma. They spent their days exchanging poetry and paintings, finding beauty in each other and the secret world they created. But it wasn't easy. Their love had to remain hidden. They knew that if their families discovered the truth, it would mean rejection, heartache, and the end of their lives in Willow Creek. Still, as the weeks turned into months, the weight of secrecy grew heavier. Each stolen moment, each whispered confession under the stars, became a reminder of the suffocating world they lived in. One warm, breezy night with fireflies dancing around them, Emma finally spoke the words that had been haunting her for weeks. "Mia, what if we leave? Run away together. Somewhere no one can tell us who we're supposed to be." Mia's breath caught in her throat. She had dreamed of this, but the fear of abandoning everything she knew had kept her quiet. "And go where?" she asked softly, her voice trembling. "What about our families?" Emma took Mia's hands in hers. "Our families will never understand, but we can create our own family. A life where we're free to love without fear." Mia's heart ached, torn between the life she knew and the life she wanted. But Emma's words unlocked something deep inside her, a desire for freedom that she had suppressed for too long. That night they made a pact. They would leave Willow Creek and never look back. For the next few weeks, they meticulously planned their escape. Every penny they earned was secretly stashed away, every necessary item quietly packed into an old suitcase. The more they planned, the lighter their hearts felt. The thought of living authentically gave them a hope they hadn't known in years. Finally, on a moonlit summer night, Emma and Mia climbed into Mia's weathered old car. They looked back one last time at the town they had grown up in, the town that had stifled their love. Without a word, they drove off, the open road ahead, the future unknown but full of promise. The journey was long and filled with uncertainty. They slept in motels, ate in roadside diners, and talked about the life they would build together. Each mile they traveled felt like shedding the skin of their old lives, becoming something new, something real. After weeks on the road, they found their haven, a small coastal town where the waves crashed endlessly against the shore. The salty air and the sound of seagulls became their new home. They rented a tiny cottage by the sea, a place filled with warmth and possibility. Emma found work as a writer, pouring her soul into poems and stories, while Mia continued painting, this time with the ocean as her muse. They built a life together, a simple but beautiful one, filled with laughter, creativity, and most importantly, love. As the years went by, their love only deepened. They spent their days walking hand in hand along the beach, talking about the lives they had left behind and the one they had created. Their home became a gathering place for others like them, people who had left behind judgment and prejudice in search of freedom. Though they had left Willow Creek far behind, news eventually trickled back to them. Their families, after years of silence, had come to regret their rigid views. Emma's and Mia's parents had realized the depth of their mistake, missing out on the love and happiness their daughters had found. But by then it was too late to make amends. Emma and Mia grew old together in that cozy cottage by the sea. Their love never faded. It only grew stronger with time. They had chosen each other over fear, and in the end, they had built a life of joy and acceptance, a testament to the power of love in the face of adversity. And so their story became a beacon of hope, a reminder that love, no matter the odds, could triumph. That happiness, though hard one, was worth every sacrifice. That sometimes to truly live, you had to leave everything behind and run toward the unknown together. As the years passed, Emma and Mia's life by the sea grew richer. Their cottage, once a quiet retreat for two, became a vibrant hub of creativity, filled with visitors who shared their passion for art, writing, and love. Their friends were a patchwork of dreamers, other artists, musicians, and free spirits who had found their way to the coastal town in search of acceptance. Here they were surrounded by a chosen family, a group that celebrated love in all its forms. Emma's poetry had gained recognition far beyond their little town. Her words, raw and passionate, spoke to people who had struggled with their own truths. She often held readings in a quaint bookshop by the beach, where the salty breeze would drift through the open windows. Mia would sit in the front row, her eyes never leaving Emma, as if each poem was written just for her. The world outside might not have understood their love, but in this town it was the heartbeat of everything. Mia's art too blossomed. Her paintings, once reserved for quiet gallery corners, were now displayed in major exhibitions. The world had fallen in love with her vibrant depictions of love and nature, the way she captured the nuances of human connection against the backdrop of the ever-changing sea. She had found her voice through the strokes of her brush, and with Emma by her side, that voice had never been louder. One evening, as the sun set over the horizon, casting the sky in shades of pink and orange, Emma turned to Mia as they stood on the beach. "Do you remember the day we left Willow Creek?" Emma asked, her voice soft with nostalgia. Mia nodded, a small smile on her lips. "I was so scared," she admitted. "But I knew as long as I had you, everything would be okay." Emma squeezed Mia's hand. And it was. It was more than okay. It was everything. They stood in silence for a while, watching the waves lap against the shore, the same waves that had greeted them all those years ago when they had first arrived, uncertain but hopeful. Now those waves felt like old friends, constant and reassuring. One day, after a particularly warm summer afternoon spent laughing with friends and painting by the shore, a letter arrived from Willow Creek. It was from Mia's mother. Mia hesitated before opening it, her hands trembling slightly. For so long, they had cut ties with their families, not out of anger, but out of self-preservation. Now it seemed the past had come knocking at their door once again. The letter was brief but heartfelt. Her mother apologized for all the years they had spent apart, for not understanding her daughter's love for Emma sooner. She wrote of how empty their lives had felt without Mia, and how proud they were of the life she had built, even if they had not been part of it. "They've changed," Mia whispered, tears welling in her eyes. "They regret everything." Emma wrapped her arms around Mia, resting her chin on her shoulder. "I'm glad they've come to see what we always knew," she said gently. They both knew that returning to Willow Creek was not in the cards. Their life was here by the sea, surrounded by love and acceptance. But perhaps someday there would be a chance for forgiveness, a chance to reconnect with the past, not as an obligation but as a way of healing. For now, though, they had each other. Their days continued to be filled with the simple joys of life, painting, writing, and the quiet contentment of growing old together. They had created a life of love, far from the narrow-mindedness they had once fled, and it had been worth every struggle. On their 40th anniversary, their friends threw them a celebration on the beach. Lanterns lit up the night sky as Emma and Mia danced barefoot in the sand, the soft hum of music blending with the sound of the waves. As they swayed in each other's arms, it felt like no time had passed at all since that fateful day at the art fair when their hearts had first collided. "I love you, Mia," Emma whispered, pressing her forehead to Mia's. "I love you more, Emma," Mia replied, her voice thick with emotion. And in that moment, under the stars and surrounded by the people they loved, Emma and Mia knew that they had found the life they had always dreamed of. It was not the life their parents had planned, nor the one their small town had envisioned for them. It was something far better. An extraordinary love story, built on courage, creativity, and a bond that had only grown stronger with time. Their journey had been long, and at times difficult, but in the end, they had everything they had ever wanted. Emma and Mia had run away to find love, but what they had truly found was freedom. And so they continued to live, happily, joyfully, and always together, proving that love, when chosen fearlessly, can transcend even the deepest divides.